All right, so now that we've talked about external anatomical terms for most of the different small animals we're going to come in contact with, I want to talk a little bit about skeletal and internal anatomy. I'm going to start with skeletal. So the skeletal system, this will be a really brief overview of different basics and bones of the skeletal system. So the axial skeleton, this includes the vertebral column, the ribs, the sternum, and the skull. So it's kind of that central skeleton. And then there's two different types of limbs. There's the pectoral limb, so these are the front limbs, and this includes the shoulders, legs, and feet. The bones are the scapula, which is the shoulder blade, the humerus, which is the top part of the arm, the radius and the ulna, which is the forearm, the carpals, the metacarpals, and the phalanges. And the phalanges are toes. And then there's also the pelvic limb. So these are the rear legs and pelvic bones, which include the femur, which is the upper leg bone or the thigh bone, the tibia and fibula, which are the lower leg bones, the tarsals, which is the hock, the metatarsals, which are the feet, and then the phalanges, which are the toes. The main purpose of the skeletal system is to protect vital body organs. It also gives form or shape to the body. So for example, the skull protects the brain and also the sinus cavities. The ribs protect the lungs and the internal organs that are really important, like the heart. The spinal column or the backbone protects the spinal cord, and it also provides shape to the animal. The structure of the skeletal system consists of bones, also cartilage and joints. So birds have some unique bones, unlike mammals. Most of them have a skull bone that elongates towards the front of the head, and that actually forms the beak. Some birds have a skull with an upper beak that is actually fused to it. Other birds have hinged jaw bones or hinged beaks on both the upper and the lower mandibles, which actually gives it more flexibility. Right, as far as internal anatomy goes, the heart is the major organ in the circulatory system. It is made up of three different muscle layers. So the myocardium is that second muscle layer that makes up the thickness of the heart. The endocardium is a very thin layer that's inside the myocardium. And then the epicardium, which is a thin cover over the myocardium or the main heart muscle. That epicardium protects the myocardium. Other parts of the circulatory system include the arteries, the capillaries, the veins, and blood is considered a part of the circulatory system. They all move nutrients, metabolic waste, and oxygen throughout the body. Another important role that the circulatory system plays is protection against microbes and injury. So the kidneys and the bladder, these are parts of the excretory system that rids the body of waste. In addition, the kidneys also maintain chemical composition and volume of blood and tissue fluid. So the stomach and the intestines, these are the major parts of the digestive system. We're going to go into a little bit more detail on the digestive system in another video. But the stomach and the intestines serve to break down food into smaller pieces to be used by the body. And also the small intestine is where most of those nutrients are absorbed or gleaned from the food materials. The lungs, these are the major part of the respiratory system. This is where oxygen is taken in by the nose, it's passed on to the lungs, and then goes into the bloodstream, and then carbon dioxide is breathed back out of the lungs and released back into the environment. So the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves make up the nervous system. And the nervous system really is the coordinator of all body activities. It regulates other systems, it controls memory, controls learning. All of that sort of stuff is controlled by the nervous system. The ovaries of the female or the testes of the male are the major parts of the reproductive system. And really they serve to produce new individuals of the same species. So your ovaries produce eggs and your testes produce sperm, as well as different sex hormones. And again, we're going to talk more in detail about the reproductive system in another video. Muscles make up the muscular system, and the muscles really are responsible for giving the body its movement, posture, support. It also produces heat. All right, we're going to talk about the digestive system in the next video.